So this is a client interview with my awesome client, Michelle. So Michelle's been working with me remotely for the last 3 months. And Michelle, I just want to thank you for making the time to jump on the call today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So we're just going to go through some questions. Before we started working together, what was the greatest frustration you had with your training, would you say?
I think it was sort of the pressure that you put on yourself and the pressure that you have put on you by some gyms or personal trainers, for example, that, you know, when you exercise, you have to exercise really, really hard for an hour and you have to do it 3 times a week. Otherwise, it's just not worth doing, really. And that I found that quite frustrating and off-putting as well, actually.
Okay, cool. So yeah, in the past, you're just saying that it was, 3 hours a week or an hour each session.
Yeah.
And very hard. Otherwise, you weren't succeeding, basically.
Yeah. It's sort of I sort of had that mentality of, otherwise don't bother.
Yeah. And what other programs did you try beforehand?
I was doing quite a lot of Pilates, which I did enjoy, and yoga, again, which I also enjoyed. Although I found them restrictive in that, you had to be at the classes that they scheduled at the times they scheduled them. Before that, I'd had personal trainers in the past. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And what would you say is your favorite result that you've experienced so far?
I think it's the change in mindset. And I know I've said this to you before, but I have a mindset now which is anything is better than nothing. And even if that means I really don't feel like doing, the full workout, even doing 15 minutes or 20 minutes or even 5 minutes, is still better than doing nothing. And so that has made it easy. It's taken the pressure off and it's been freeing in a way. And I think that is actually the biggest result. I now don't think about exercise so much as, oh God, it's a chore, I have to do it. So that's been a really fantastic change.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how has that improved or impacted your consistency?
I'm definitely more consistent than I was. So I, in the past, would have a habit of going really hard for a couple of weeks and then, doing nothing. Whereas now I'm not going as hard, but I am doing it multiple times a week, and I have been, fairly consistent since this program started. So that's a massive difference.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Really good to hear that. Did you have any fears or apprehensions before you started training remotely?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't really sure how the online training would go, whether or not, you'd be able to sort of pick up on things that I wasn't doing correctly or things that I could do better or fix. And I found that that's absolutely not the case. That's been really great. And also, that apprehension of, will I be able to keep this up? And is this just going to be another exercise program that I think that I can commit to and then I don't? Which, again, with that change in mindset, really hasn't been the case.
Yeah, so you feel that this is kind of something more sustainable, something you can...
Yeah. It seems it's easier in a way. Because of that approach, and so therefore it's not as daunting and not as scary, I guess.
Yeah, great. And how would you say this program is different to others you've tried?
I think it's the a few things. So remembering that anything is better than nothing. One of the things that you said quite early on, which is, you can begin again. Which at the time, actually, when I got that email, made me get off the couch and do a really short workout. But remembering that is really useful. And the other thing that you say about, of 5 workouts, and I can't remember what they all are now, but, you know, 1 will be great, 1 will be terrible, 3 will be average.
Yeah.
And again, it's just that sort of, you know, taking the pressure off yourself and recognizing that just doing it is still a win.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And like, as we're talking, myself and my partner, we got a new puppy. So the puppy is in the background making, making noise. But it's just what you were saying there, like with regards to puppy training as well. It's very similar when you kind of see how long it takes to train the puppy and you have more of an understanding of the process and the time and it not being smooth. You're way more way calmer and way more understanding about just showing up and still doing the training. You know, it's very similar to what you're talking about. So yeah, that's a really good point. If someone, let's say someone is in the position that you were in, you know, last year, and they're debating about whether or not to get started training. Okay, so if you wanted to motivate them, what would you tell them?
I would say get started sooner rather than later, and you don't have to be perfect straight off the bat. You can take as long as you need to build the skills and build the routine. But if you don't start, then you never start building those skills.
Yeah, very good advice. What is something you can do now that you weren't able to do before you started?
I can get my heels a lot closer to the ground in the bear, and I'm very happy about that.
Great. So for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what the bear is, it's basically, it's called like an A-frame position, so like a downward dog, and you're walking in a downward dog. Yeah. So yeah, just so people know who aren't GMB fans.
Yeah.
How would those close to you describe the differences they've seen in you over the last quarter?
It's a really good question. I think probably when it comes to my health and my fitness, seeing, I guess, a more relaxed attitude and less of that, I'm going to sign up to this thing, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it 5 days a week, you know, and then sort of forgetting about it. So much more kind of steady as she goes approach and worrying about it a lot less, because I know that I am doing something, even if it is not the, you know, 5 hours a week of intense training. I am actually doing something regularly and sustainable.
Yeah. So you're just believing and trusting the process and showing up. Yeah. Awesome. And what has surprised you the most since the start of the coaching?
The mindset change, that the almost from the get-go, in fact, actually probably from the get-go, one of the first things that you said to me was, you know, if all you do is 5 minutes twice a week from now until the end of the year, that is still better than doing an hour 1 week and then an hour in a month's time and an hour in a month's time. And obviously I'm doing more than 5 minutes twice a week, but knowing that, just, I guess, having that shift in you don't have to kill yourself every time. You just have to show up and keep doing it, and you will actually still get better results. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but I think until somebody actually points it out to you, you can lose sight of it.
Yeah. And you were saying to me about the BJ Fogg. Advice. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yes. Now I've got to remember what I was saying to you. I can't remember now, Connor.
About flossing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. No problem.
Entirely. It's obviously very inspired thought on my part.
Well, it worked for me. So BJ Fogg, he's a really famous researcher in Stanford. One of his students was actually the guy who created Instagram. So he's the habit formation king of research. But basically, his approach is making things really small. He recommends people, if they want to start learning to floss or getting back into the habit of flossing again, instead of flossing all your teeth, he says to start with one tooth. And myself and Michelle were talking probably a fortnight ago or last month sometime, and she told me this story, and I'd forgotten about it, and I started applying this to my own flossing because I'd stopped flossing over the last year, and I'm flossing every night again. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
It was such a simple thing. It's at 9 o'clock when all of my tech goes off. I just make sure that I do my my pec stretches essentially. It's not a massive thing, but it is something that I'm now doing every day, which I hadn't been doing. That was it. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. That inspired me to start flossing again as well.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah. And last question, what were your goals when you started, and what are you still working to achieve?
The ultimate goal is doing the handstand for sure,
Yeah.
but I think really the secret goal was having a more sustainable approach to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
My diet's always been all right, but my exercise is a bit, I'm a bit flaky.
Mm-hmm.
And so really building in the habit and the sustainability is really the key thing. And then, ideally I'd love to do the handstand, but if I never get there, even if I've got the sustainable exercise happening, then I'm moving towards it.
Yeah, exactly. And just keep, focusing on the basics. You're building this, the foundational strength towards the handstand in the bear and the locomotive patterns.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just trusting the process.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for taking time out of your day today, Michelle. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
That's great. And anyone who's watching, if you have any questions, you can comment in the comment section below.
Yep. Thanks very much, Connor.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.